Once upon a time, in a land cloaked in eternal twilight, there was a small forgotten village named Grimhaven. The villagers were somber and wary. They lived in constant fear of the looming forest that surrounded their homes. This forest, known as the Whispering Woods, held dark secrets and sinister shadows that no one dared to confront. The story begins with a young girl named Sophia, whose curiosity was as vast as the forest itself. Unlike the other villagers, Sophia had always been drawn to the Whispering Woods. Her grandmother, the village storyteller, had filled her head with tales of the forest's enchantments and horrors. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the village in an eerie glow, Sophia made a fateful decision. She would venture into the woods and uncover its secrets for herself. With a lantern in hand and her heart pounding in her chest, Sophia stepped into the forest. The air was thick with an otherworldly mist, and the trees seemed to whisper her name, their leaves rustling like ghostly voices. As she walked deeper, the path became narrow and twisted, like a serpent winding through the underbrush. Strange, unearthly sounds echoed through the trees, soft murmurs and distant cries that sent shivers down her spine. After what felt like hours, Sophia came upon a clearing. In the center stood a tall ancient tree. Its bark gnarled and twisted like the face of an old crone. The tree was unlike any other in the forest. It emanated a palpable aura of malevolence. Sophia's grandmother had spoken of this tree, calling it the heart of the woods. It was said that those who dared to approach it would be granted their deepest desire, but at a terrible cost. Drawn by an inexplicable force, Sophia stepped closer. As she touched the tree's cold, rough bark, a voice filled her mind, seductive and terrifying. "What is it you seek, child?" the voice whispered, each word slithering into her thoughts like a creeping vine. "I want to know the truth about the forest," Sophia replied, her voice trembling. The tree seemed to groan, its branches swaying as if in laughter. "Very well," it hissed. "But remember, truth is a double-edged sword." Suddenly, the ground beneath Sophia's feet shifted, and she was pulled into a swirling vortex of darkness. She found herself standing in the village square, but it was not the Grimhaven she knew. This village was alive with eerie spectral figures, villagers long gone, their faces contorted in expressions of sorrow and pain. Sophia watched in horror as the specters reenacted the village's tragic past. Long ago, Grimhaven had been a place of joy and light until a mysterious stranger arrived. This stranger, a sorcerer of immense power, offered the villagers a deal: eternal prosperity in exchange for a single sacrifice each year. Desperate and blinded by greed, the villagers accepted. But the sorcerer's bargain was a cruel trick. Each year a child was chosen and led into the Whispering Woods, never to return. The villagers soon realized their mistake, but it was too late. The sorcerer vanished and the forest, now cursed, grew dark and twisted, feeding on the souls of the sacrificed children. As Sophia watched, the specters turned their hollow eyes toward her, their silent screams piercing her heart. She understood now. The village's prosperity had been bought with innocent lives, and the forest was a living testament to their suffering. Desperate to escape the nightmare, Sophia ran through the spectral village, the ghostly figures reaching out to her with bony, translucent hands. She stumbled and fell, landing at the edge of the Whispering Woods. A chilling wind swept through the trees, carrying the faint sound of children's laughter, haunting and sorrowful. Sophia knew she had to return to the heart of the woods. She raced back through the forest, the whispers growing louder, more insistent. When she reached the ancient tree, she fell to her knees, tears streaming down her face. "I know the truth now," she cried. "How can I break the curse?" The tree's voice was softer this time, almost sympathetic. "The curse can be broken, but only if the village repents. They must face the darkness they have wrought and seek forgiveness from those they wronged." With newfound determination, Sophia returned to Grimhaven. She gathered the villagers and recounted her journey, revealing the truth about their dark past. At first, they were skeptical, but as she spoke, the winds of the forest seemed to echo her words, and the villagers felt the weight of their ancestors' sins. One by one, they ventured into the forest, led by Sophia to the heart of the woods. They knelt before the ancient tree, their voices trembling with regret and sorrow as they begged for forgiveness. A brilliant light enveloped the tree, and the forest began to change. The twisted branches straightened, the oppressive mist lifted, and the whispers turned into songs of liberation. The specters of the sacrificed children appeared before the villagers, their faces now serene and forgiving. They touched the villagers' hands, their ethereal forms glowing with a gentle light. As the last child faded into the light, a sense of peace washed over Grim Haven. The village was never the same after that night. The forest, no longer cursed, became a place of beauty and wonder. The villagers, humbled and repentant, lived in harmony with the land, forever remembering the sacrifices that had been made. Sophia grew into a wise and revered figure, her courage and determination saving her people from their dark legacy. And so, the tale of Grim Haven and the Whispering Woods was passed down through generations, a reminder of the power of truth, repentance, and the enduring spirit of hope. And thus ends the story of Sophia and the Heart of the Woods, a tale of horror and redemption that echoes through the ages.